Someone else has come forward with a Diddy story. That's right. All week, all month, all year, people have been coming around with stories about Diddy, allegations against Diddy, suggesting that he has been engaged in forms of sexual violence, sexual assault, sexual harassment, exploitation, etc. Well, the latest person to come forward is Touré. Y'all know Touré. Touré is a brilliant journalist, an extraordinary writer, a fixture in the media criticism and media culture scene, one of the most important music critics of his generation. Touré is a bad boy. And Touré appeared on Joy Reid show the other day to offer his analysis of Diddy. And in the midst of offering his analysis of Diddy, Touré told this story that I want y'all to see. Check this out. And this is from the Joy Reid show.
I was personally disturbed many years ago. Okay. I know this man well enough to call him and say, hey, I need a favor.
Yeah.
And this might have been 10, 12 years ago that I called him and say, hey, I have a family member who I want you to hire them as an intern.
Yeah.
And I have never talked about this publicly. And he said yes. And they were flying around, one of the interns, Atlanta, Miami, whatever, on the jet, in the house, whatever. And then the internship stopped abruptly, like 3 or 4 months into it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to my family member, like, well, what happened? And they wouldn't say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did it end? He wouldn't say. And years later, they finally came out, and this a male, and said that Puff had said, come home, stay the night with me, or the internship is over. And they said, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not. And the internship ended. But from there, I was like, this is how it goes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So to hear that things went even further with potentially, allegedly, many other people, it's not, we feel like we've seen this coming.
This is Touré's analysis. Now, of course, again, Touré didn't say this happened to him, but it happened to somebody who's 1 degree of separation from him, from Puff, his cousin. If this was 6 months ago, people would be like, it's just an empty allegation. I mean, Touré knows somebody who worked for Puff and he said something, people get fired, they say whatever, right? That would be the argument. That would be the allegation. But now, post-Cassie, and there really is a pre-Cassie and a post-Cassie world, right? And the pre-Cassie world was, there's allegations against Puff, there's allegations and whispers against everybody. But the post world is something else. The post world is something else, because now everybody's come forward with a story. A handful of people have come forward with lawsuits, with more probably in the wings. And if that's the case, then more and more stories are going to be part of the mix. And if more and more stories are part of the mix, then when you hear somebody say, well, it wasn't me, but it was my friend, it was my brother, it was my uncle, it was my cousin, it was my nephew, those stories get more credibility. Because there's already a base expectation. There's already a base analysis. There's already a base belief that these things are true. So Touré's story is powerful because it speaks to pattern. Touré's story is powerful because it connects dots that other people have also attempted to connect. Now, it's not a super huge story. It's not a blockbuster or a bombshell. Nothing happened. He didn't sleep with the person quit the job. But that's sexual harassment if it's true. It's consistent with a pattern if it's true, allegedly. And it's probably a sign that for all these years, there are people who had their stories and they kept them tucked in, but now they might not tuck them in anymore. So Puff may have a long way to go before this nightmare is over.